And welcome to Over 50 Starting Over. This is our special guest special. And today we have an author here, former NFL player, and a very interesting guy that we thought that our audience in particular would find interesting, because we're always trying to bring you inspiration and information that people starting a new career are refinding the magic in their existing careers, the information, inspiration that they could use. Merle, tell us a little bit about our special guest.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. As Barry was saying, we're excited about this special edition of Over 50 Starting Over with our special guest, Marques Ogden. And Marques has just published a new book called The Success Cycle, 3 Keys for Achieving Your Goals in Business and Life, which Marques is going to go into further depth on. His story is unique, yet familiar to all of us here at Over 50 Starting Over. As a youth, Marques was inspired by his single-parent father who taught him perseverance and fairness. A graduate of Howard University, where he was a successful Division I football player, Marques followed in his brother's footsteps and was drafted into the NFL as an offensive lineman for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2003. During his 5 years in the NFL, Marques also played for the Titans, the Ravens, and the Bills. After retirement from the NFL, Ogden formed a company called Kayden Premier Enterprises, an earth-moving company based out of Baltimore, Maryland. And with unprecedented success, Ogden's business was doing over $12 million in the first 5 years. However, one bad business deal would end everything, bankrupting the company and Marques. Marques went from the top to the bottom in just a matter of months. As a family man, Ogden did whatever it took to provide by coaching youth football and working as a janitor. And it was through these seeds of adversity that Ogden wrote a best-selling autobiography called Sleepless Nights, the NFL, a Business and Family. This catapulted his new career as a motivational speaker and a marketing leader. So Marques, welcome. We're excited to have you on the show. And our audience at Over 50 Starting Over is always hungry for hope and information. I mean, inspiration. And I've heard you say, it's not how you fall down, it's how you get back up. And by the way, I love that quote. Maybe we can start there.
Appreciate it, Miles. You're absolutely correct. It's that in life, when you fall down, it's not about, everybody in life gets knocked down, right? I mean, from Muhammad Ali, who is the greatest boxer of all time, or one of them, in my opinion, to people like Bill Gates, who's now owns Microsoft and done fantastic things, to Elon Musk, to everyone has been knocked down in life. The question is, when life knocks you down, can you get back up? And that's what so many people need to understand, especially what's going on right now around the globe with the coronavirus. It's really going to put into effect people who get knocked down. Are they going to stay down and let the virus defeat them? Or are they going to actually get off the canvas and get themselves up, dust themselves off, and go back and try again?
Got that right.
Yeah, thanks, Marques. Appreciate that. Can you tell us a little bit about your book, The Success Cycle? And I was telling you just a few minutes ago before we started recording that I've been reading it, and I love the way you lay out your whole life story, and then you recap with the lessons that you learned at each juncture along the way. It's a hell of a life story. So if you could, just tell us about the success cycle a little bit.
Sure. The success cycle right here is, it's a book that we wrote to really focus on 3 major things: ambition, drive, and hard work. So many people in life want success, but if you don't have a plan, AKA ambition, or a blueprint, or a roadmap, how are you ever going to get where you want to go? Especially people listening to this podcast, the 50 over 50, they're trying to start over. You must first identify your ambitions. Where do you want to go? What do you want your targeted destination to be? If you can figure that out, that gives you the first big step and chance to achieve success. The second part is drive. We talk about motivation versus inspiration. Motivation comes from the word locomotive, which means to move powerfully in a short distance, and then that's it, you stop. Inspiration is to breathe life into someone or something so they can continue to go and live their own life or be the best version of themselves. So that's inspiration. You have to really be prepared to make a systemic, long-term change. So for me, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm an inspirational keynote speaker. Because if I motivate you, I have not done my job. You'll get rah, ready to go for like, a month, maybe 2 max. You're not going to be willing to put in that 12 months, that 24 months, that real work to get from where you are to where you want to be. Then the last part is hard work, focusing on yourself, not the competition. So many people say, well, my competition's doing this, they've got this, or they do what I call the worst thing ever, social media comparison. Where they're going, where they're traveling, they've got this car and this. You have no idea what somebody really has. So focus on you. It's a 95-hour work week. It's not a 9 to 5 if you're trying to have real wealth and real overall success.
You do talk about that in your book too, about how you've never had the luxury of being able to try to follow your passion without a day job, and the necessity of that. And it's kind of fruitless if you don't have to put in that extra mile. I don't even know anybody who has the luxury of being able to pursue a job of passion during a 9 to 5 window, for sure. It seems to me it's always something that you got to try a little bit harder for, and makes everything a little bit more rewarding. When I was reading your chapter about motivation versus inspiration, I found it very profound, so profound I have to reread it, because I love the definition that you define them as motivation being what you have to do for someone else. All right, that's like the work that I do for my one-on-one clients all day long, that I have to do to pay the bills, or the taxes that I was working on all day long that is gut-wrenching and I hate every minute of it. That's, I have to find a way to motivate myself to get through something like that. But you even used your daughter as an example, how you have to find a way to motivate her to clean her room. And so it's various aspects of bribery or trying to make her understand how it benefits her. But inspiration, conversely, is when you're doing something for yourself. And that is so much what we talk about here on our podcast. Is so we're at an age, and maybe hopefully a means, where we can finally do what it is that we really want to do. So I'd imagine, Marques, when you're getting up in front of very large audiences and inspiring them, you got to go home feeling like $1 million, don't you? Knowing
Absolutely, because here's the thing. I'm all about how can I create value for someone else. And a lot of people are afraid of speaking, or they're afraid of, getting up there and being a failure, or they think they are on stage. And I say, look, every expert was once a beginner. Every one of us. My first speech was horrible. I was sweating. I was stammering. I was clinging to the podium like it was my force field from the audience to keep them away from me. I literally was like that. And what I tell everyone is that I don't think people are afraid of speaking. I think people are afraid of failing. They're afraid of people laughing at them or rejecting their thoughts, or they're afraid, really what I feel is the most thing they're afraid of is that what they have to say, people are going to devalue. And I tell people all the time, inclusion and healthy dialogue is the best thing any corporation can have, because healthy dialogue and inclusion creates a culture. If the culture is healthy, people will want to be in that organization. If the culture is unhealthy or toxic, it's going to take people away from that organization, because they want to go work somewhere else for probably equal or even less pay, where they actually get up and don't come to a toxic environment. They come up to a healthy, self-sustaining, self-appreciating environment where people are getting praise, not getting loathed.
Boy, that's something that we've talked about on our podcast. And what I always say, Marques, is, I've worked with so many different companies. I've been in self-employed my whole adult life. So, I mean, Fortune 500 companies down to small businesses and everything. And I've always said this, no matter how big or small the company, I find that the culture, the personality is taken from the person at the top. The person at the very top, and if they're condescending and they rule through fear, everybody does it all the way through that organization. What do you got? You got a toxic environment, like you're talking about right there. But I think most people, when they hit a degree, that large degree of success, it usually takes a more developed and evolved personality. So I think more often than not, to be positive about this, I think more often than not, it is somebody with strong leadership skills that does know how to bring that out in other people. If those leadership skills are taught down the line, it comes out throughout the company.
Well, I talk about this in the book. I talk about this in chapter, actually I think it's like 5 or 6, where we talk about, it's actually the chapter right here, chapter about inspiration. Richard Branson says it best. The best leaders that can create success are the leaders that have the ability to inspire. He said, inspiration is the number one thing that a great leader has to have. Because if you can inspire the masses, they're going to work hard for you. They're going to go the extra mile and beyond. If people are just going to go work 9 to 5, punch in when they get there, punch out when they leave, and if they don't believe in you, the mission, the overall culture, then they have no desire, no real desire at all to push forward and go and be successful, not in any life.
Marques, I heard you speaking about that yourself when you had your construction company, and you talked about how you were you didn't set that example for the folks that were underneath of you or working with you, and you didn't set the example, but I think you learned a powerful lesson right there that really catapulted you into success. Tell us more about that.
Yes. So what happened is, Merle, the company had massive success. And as a result of the massive success, I became arrogant. I became bullheaded. I became somebody that if you told me something that I didn't like, you were either fired or you were reprimanded. And that attitude, that demeanor, that everyday living hell I put my employees through, they picked up on it. So people started coming to work late. They started being condescending. They started just doing just the bare minimum to get by, just get their paychecks. When we were growing the company and we were on our way up, I was always humble. I was always appreciative. And that's why the employees worked harder. They worked extra hours. They didn't complain if they were late a day with pay because of something happened with the payroll company or because the company was late paying me. They bought in to the overall vision. Anyone who's listening to this podcast, you want to go somewhere, you want to start something around an accountability of a shared vision. If you have an accountability structure, a commitment to a shared vision, the company can thrive. And at any point in the accountability structure or theme is broken and the foundation starts to crumble and crack, that is the beginning of the end. And when we had success at that height, I ended up becoming that egotistical, arrogant, pompous owner. I became a boss instead of a leader. And 6 months later, the company's bankrupt.
Wow. A question for you, just to follow up on that, Marques. Once that downhill spiral started, in hindsight, was there still a way to pull out of that tailspin?
Yes, there was, but I lost it because if I would have listened to my best employee, who's my estimator, senior estimator, tell me the company was going to crash and burn if we didn't change anything. If I had listened to him, we could have made it, because I would have stopped working so much on that one job. I would have focused on other jobs. And by doing that, I would have probably ended up getting a signed change order for all the work that I did, giving me a leg to stand on after the fact, and I'd have been okay. But because I didn't listen to him and I scolded him and I was condescending to him, that was on a Friday. He came in the following Monday. He handed me his 2-week resignation papers, and he was gone. 6 months later, the company was out of business because he was the glue where all the good people would stay and kind of work hard. I was kind of like, he was my leader. It was amongst my team, internally and externally. And when he left, the culture just went from bad to worse. And once that happened, the ship was sunk.
I know that once the ship was sunk, you really personally experienced a lot of hard times through depression and just your own financial woes that you were dealing with. What resources did you turn to in order to turn that around? Because once somebody gets down like that, it is a pretty tall mountain to climb from that point.
I ended up going to the National Football League NFLPA retired players, and they had a program that was started by the new CBA called the NFL Trust and the NFL Player Care Foundation. And it has something specifically called the Gene Upshaw Trust Fund. And what that was and is a place where athletes can go, retired players that are experiencing financial hardship. They're in dire need. But in order to get approved, it's a process. They need your tax returns. They need your bank statement. They need to see everything. So I filled that out in probably like March of 2013. Moved to Raleigh, got here, had $400 to my name. I was working a job, and I was literally about to be on the street homeless because I was working, but I didn't have the money to pay the next month's rent.
Wow!
And I got a call from my fiance, now my wife. She got a letter in the mail that they had approved our grant request. And so they paid 4 months of our bills to our landlord, car note, our creditor, and our water bill, all that stuff. They don't give it to you. They pay the actual creditors that you owe. And that was my opportunities. Kind of like, that, like you talked about a moment ago, like the chance, like what could have turned it around for me? Like, and again, not listening to Colin cost me my company. Whereas actually utilizing the Player Care Foundation, Gene Upshaw Trust money, and working hard and amassing a little bucks that I could. I didn't make a lot of money at the time. Amassing what I could at least gave me some type of cushion, not much, a small cushion, as I was trying to get my life together.
I'm hearing a lot of biblical wisdom here with the success comes from a multitude of counselors.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and success comes from the wisdom of others passed down to you, or the wisdom that you pass down to yourself from what you've learned from your failures. So I've learned from Kayden, I will never, ever, ever again be egotistical, pompous. Because today in our company now I have 3 key team members, 3 key ones, 2 female, 1 male. And if they have something they want to say to me, we're all going to talk about it. There's no more shutting you out, or that doesn't make sense, or my way or the highway. One of my key team members, she actually brought me one of our other key team members, and I thankful that she did because I kind of fought her on it. But I said, Marcus, look, we've been down this road before. You didn't listen to somebody else, it cost your company. Try it. And by listening to her, we have a new website guy, who does our website, our SEO, our back office, and our website and our videos and all of our Google rankings. Everything has shot up in the last almost 9 months. And he's now a key member of the 3-person team that I was referencing.
So I want everybody to hear that out there, that you really need a key website and SEO and marketing guy to be part of your team to help get you to prominence online, because I happen to do that.
But here's the thing, Barry, and I say this all the time. You can have the best damn product in the world. You could be the best leader that's in transition. You could be the best general who's just completed their mission, for one branch of the military, wants to go to another branch, another company. But if nobody knows you exist, how can they hire you? They can't do it. So your marketing, all your website, your SEO, your marketing, all of that, that's how they find you.
That's right. And your value propositions as well. First of all, somebody has to know they're in the right place within 2 seconds of landing on your website. And from there, they have to find, well, what is your value proposition? What does this person bring uniquely to me rather than the competition? Because they got your competition up there in tabs. So you got literally seconds to communicate on that. But Marques, I want to get back to your book. I read about, you talk a lot about goal setting, from daily goals to yearly goals to 5-year goals. And what I liked about what you said about it was the reality of how you had to adjust your goals as you went along the way. I think most people act like, oh, you just set your goals, you write them down, put them in your wallet, and magic will happen. That's usually what I hear.
No, that happened. Like so I came home that morning after that pivotal moment, sat down at my desk, wrote down the goals I wanted to achieve. And I set a goal of getting a paid speaking job in the first 12 months. Well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen in the next 12 months. It didn't happen in 24 months. It took me 30 months. So I tell you all the time, if you write a goal down with a timeline that you think is realistic and reasonable, and it doesn't happen, you don't have to quit. It doesn't mean throw the towel in. It means you have to make some adjustments. You have to reevaluate. You have to reposition and realign. Do you have the right team members? Do you even have the right outside consulting staff? I say this all the time. The human mind is designed to do a lot of things. It's not designed to do everything.
Nice.
So you cannot do everything you want to do for the brand and succeed, because if you do that, you're not out there selling. You have got to build a power team. You'll see that. That's a chapter in the book. You've got to build a power team around you that has an accountability to that vision. And if you can do that and you have trust within the team, you build trust by 3 factors: competency, reliability, having each other's back. If you can do those 3 things and build trust with your team, you can have the world. Sky's the limit. But it is hard to find those team members, because you have to find people who are willing to work as hard as you are willing to work.
Mm.
Very well said. That brings me to what I was thinking about when you're talking about goals and not reaching some of your goals, readjusting like your first 1 year. That brought about the quote. You quoted, I believe is William Buffett, that said he would not even work with someone that hasn't failed 3 times.
Right.
Am I quoting you? Am I quoting that right?
You mean Warren Buffett? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because this is what I tell you all the time. If people haven't failed, right? Oh my God, you don't know what it's like. You haven't been through tough times. So I failed at a construction business, okay? I failed when I tried to launch a clothing line. I failed when I tried to launch a consulting business called Collective Networks. All 3. Now, of course, the clothing company was first, lost about 10 grand in the company, didn't work out. Great idea, great, product, great mindset, great actual strategy of like how to actually produce the clothes. No marketing. We didn't know how to market. We didn't know about ads, website, like there was none of that, right? So that's that. I failed second time in construction, and that was heavy because I put all my money into that because it was earthwork, dirt moving. I gambled heavily, lost. Moved here to Raleigh. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a speaker, but let me go ahead and start this little consulting business. Everybody's gonna love me. I'm a former NFL athlete. I'm gonna be racking up clients. Not so much. I didn't get anybody to sign up. And with my speaking business now, what I've learned is it's not about how much I do things or how great I think I am. What do the clients say about me? What do the people that I'm serving? I'm putting out a video. I did a speaking job last week before all this craziness hit, that being a leader is difficult. You're making decisions for the people you're serving and the betterment of the company. If you think being a leader is easy, come try it. It's not easy. So like you said, anyone that hasn't failed or hasn't had some type of adversity, I don't want to be around them in that retrospect because the Titanic is coming. I don't want to be there when it hits. You know what I mean? And they don't know how to rebound. Like if you haven't lost at anything, you don't know how to get up. So how do I know once you are knocked down at some point, which life will do that to you, how do I know you can get up? I mean, like, look at right now. The virus is knocking people down left and right. Wall Street is, the stock market is tanking. Nobody wants to get into real estate. Nobody wants to invest. Like, everybody's scared about their money, their business, their family, So a lot of people might be getting knocked down for the first time now. And they don't know how to get up, might not know how to get up.
Well, I agree with that. We are in an unprecedented time in our lifetimes, I think. But I have complete faith in the American people that this could be a really good thing for us, that it's going to bring us together a bit. You're right. In the short term, people are panicking and buying toilet paper, but in hoarding canned soup and everything else. But I think we're going to find that we're going to be on the other side of this sooner than we think, even if it's a month from now. But it'll be sooner than we think. And then we're going to start I think that we'll find ourselves coming together and reinvesting and maybe doing so in some ways that benefit each other a little bit more than we have been. Maybe.
Oh, I agree with you. I think we're going to definitely come out of it. Absolutely. Just the question is when? Is it a month? Is it 2? Is it 3? We just don't know. But again, it's all about you, me, anybody that's watching or listening, this society in general, making the extra steps, taking the extra precautions to just get out there, do what has to be done, and being able to, like you said, live and help other people, right? That's the whole premise. So it's like with my coaching, I do a lot of executive coaching, consulting, strategies and development, tactical planning, execution. And I'm telling you right now is the time to invest in coaching. Now is the time to work on your strategy, your tactics, where you want to be, where you want to go. All of that is the time right now, because a lot of people are not doing that. A lot of people are out there, they're just kind of in a relaxed mode, and they're just kind of sitting back and they're waiting for things to calm down, which is great. And I think they should be doing that. But also, you can't just sit back and take this whole time and do nothing. Mm-hmm. So I'm working with a lot of my clients right now on strategies to be able to make money through this time, but also strategies so they can start to build a plan of action. As our country gets back to normal, like we said, in a couple of months, they're ready to go and ready to hit full throttle.
That's really good advice. Don't waste the time. We always put everything off when we're busy by saying we're too busy. Well, and when I have time, I'm going to get to that. With the marketing plan, the content marketing plan that you want to push your great content out through social media. It's time to work on that right now. And as you said, with the business coaching and strategizing, now is the time to lay the foundation so that you can continue to execute when things ramp up once again. Along those lines, Marques, where can people find you, get hold of you, learn more about
they can find me on my website, which is www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Marques Ogden. You can find me on Twitter @Marques_Ogden. You can find me on Instagram @Marques Ogden, and of course, Facebook. And again, you can also shoot me an email, Marques_Ogden@yahoo.com. I'm very much one of those people who get back to people very quickly. I believe that in order to get, and I'm going to say this also to your audience, there's 5 things that they need to do to master the art of persuasion, or what I call getting people to want to work with you. One is going to be your character. How strong is your character? Is it shining through, especially in times like it is today, having that character shine through? 2 is emotion and or passion. Your ability to be, lively, energetic, be able to have good physiology, control your mental focus, be really energetic and passionate and emotional and driven in a positive way to show people that you are someone that can be the difference maker. Give them a reason to work with you. Make them more money, save them time. Is it both? What's the fiscal or the gaining reason they should hire you? 4th is metaphors. Speak to people in a language that they understand. You're talking to a sports person, use sports stories. You're talking to somebody in construction stories. You know, somebody likes hunting or fishing or movies. Talk to them in their language. Do a little research. It goes a long way. And last, be concise. Be to the point. Don't waste people's time. They have no time to waste, especially in today's market. So again, number one is have good character, have good emotion, give them a great reason, speak in metaphors, and be concise. So those are 5 things people can do to persuade others to want to work with them or hire them.
It's all great advice. And everybody, I'd like to encourage you to share this particular video with those of you, your friends that could benefit from it, which is pretty much everyone. And I'd also like to just reiterate that Marcus's book, The Success Cycle, can be found. I found it on Amazon. I bought the Kindle version, and I find it's a very easy read in that regard. So is there another place people can find your book, Marques?
Yeah, they can find my book online on my website. They can also find it at Barnes & Noble online, Amazon online, and also the book is in every Barnes & Noble bookstore across the country as well. And we also just signed a contract with Recorded Books, which is one of the largest audiobooks companies in the nation. And they're making The Success Cycle an audiobook. They're starting to work on that here probably in the next few weeks.
I love that. I love audiobooks because I would definitely listen to your book in the gym when I'm working out. I love that.
Oh yeah, it's what we're excited about is that a company of that size, they're giving us an advance. They see the value, and they're very particular about the books they bring in because they can be. I mean, they can choose who they want. So they bought the rights from our publisher, which made us very excited when they did that. So it shows that people are getting a lot of value from our book, and it's starting to really make some good positive waves in the industry.
That's fantastic. I really thank you for spending this time with us, Marques. And Merle, do you want to take us out of here?
Yeah, once again, buy the book, The Success Cycle by Marques, and 3 keys for achieving your goals in business. Find it on Kindle. That's the easiest way to get it. That's how I got it myself. And again, share with your friends. This has been an injection of inspiration. And I just want to thank you, Marques, for being on the show.
Absolutely, my friend. I appreciate you guys having me.
All right. You take care, and I hope to have you on the show again sometime in the near future.
Sounds fantastic.
All right, guys.